An eviction crisis is looming. The moratorium is about to expire, and that could leave millions of renters without a place to live on New Year's Day. Here's Diana Olick.
Christina Kelly had no problem keeping a roof over her family's head in Omaha until she got laid off from her job last summer when the business closed due to COVID. She hasn't paid rent since August.
There are no options. Right now, the homeless shelters are all closed to new people because the pandemic, obviously, and I don't have a vehicle for me to even sleep in.
Kelly is one of up to 5 million renters across the U.S. who face eviction at the end of this year, when a moratorium imposed by the Centers for Disease Control expires.
You have been sued for the possession of premises. And
Kelly may be out even sooner because her lease is up, which means she's no longer covered by the CDC.
This is really an epidemic during this pandemic that people are facing that I don't think a lot of people realize.
The crisis is national, but some states are seeing a higher share of renters at risk because they either don't have their own state protections or have higher unemployment rates.
I think there's going to be an avalanche of evictions because there's a lot of people who are falling through the cracks of aid.
Attorney Caitlin Sedfeld says some landlords are finding ways of getting around the CDC order, which only covers non-payment of rent. They're alleging things like minor property damage, noise, or even pets they already knew about.
Suddenly they're getting lease violation notices and getting evicted for that.
Applying for state aid is also difficult because, as in Kelly's case, her former employer is closed and she can't get the proper documentation she needs. She said she's applied for dozens of new jobs, but so far, no luck.
I just want landlords to know that we understand that this is hurting them, but it's hurting us as well. They have somewhere to lay their heads at night, and at some point, we may not.
And of course, landlords argue they need to make a living too. In fact, the smaller mom and pop landlords who depend the most on rent for their personal income are being hardest hit by renters not paying. But both renters and landlords agree they need more help from the government, Joe.
This was something, do you remember your first piece on this? It was a while back, and here we are. You would have thought maybe... yeah, here we are. How do we expect the CDC to extend the moratorium? What's that look like, Diana?
Well, we've spoken to sources within the CDC, and they say while they're considering it, they've not made an announcement yet. They are likely waiting on Congress now, which is working on that next relief bill. There is significant renter relief in that bill. They just need to pass it, and they need to get that money to the renters and to the landlords. And there's also a potential for extending that moratorium by about a month in that bill. But the question is, when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And will it happen by January 1st when this expires? No one knows yet.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.